The first ball is yet to be bowled in season 9 of IPL, but the title sponsor of Pepsi has declared itself out, saying that some recent controversies have brought disrepute to the game of cricket. The US beverage giant has written to the Indian Cricket Board seeking to end the 396 crore rupee deal. Now remember, Pepsi had wanted to opt out of IPL in the last season itself, but the BCCI bosses managed to convince them to stay on board. But looks like the alliance is heading for a premature breakup this time around, and this is 3 years ahead of its expiry.
Well, that's right. Sources tell ET now that BCCI will meet now on the 18th of October to take a final call on Pepsi's plea. The decision is still pending, but BCCI will find it difficult to play Pepsi's googly. For one, any review will open up a Pandora's box with other sponsors lining up with similar demands. Forget the monetary loss. Pepsi's decision to exit from IPL is also an indicator of the waning interest in the game. Pepsi's walkout from IPL and its impact on Indian cricket is our big story tonight.
Well, as far as this Pepsi thing is concerned, we are in constant consultation with them. We are working out a solution with them. We are addressing their concerns. They are addressing our concerns. And I think talks are going on in a very cordial relationship. They have been a long-standing partners. So I don't think there would be any problem. We will work it out, and whatever solution will be found out, we will let you know.
Alright, so what will this entire fiasco really mean for brand IPL, a brand that has already hit with corruption allegations, and more importantly, what does this mean for the sport itself? Has Indian cricket really lost its credibility? To discuss that, we are joined by two people who really know that issue inside out. Ayaz Mehman and Shailendra Singh. Thanks very much, gentlemen, for being with us. Ayaz, I'm going to begin with you. I remember chatting with you in July when this entire order had come, and when the cancellations of the team came in from the Supreme Court, much brouhaha was made about that. But you saw it coming, didn't you? Why would a company like Pepsi be associated with an event like IPL that was marred in controversy? Did you see this coming?
Well, I think everybody knows that they were very uneasy from 2013 when the IPL corruption scam broke. And I think they kind of made up their mind after what happened in football. We know that Coca-Cola, amongst other sponsors like Visa and McDonald's, issued a notice to FIFA that they cannot continue to support a game where there are so many allegations, so many misdemeanors going around. And you know what FIFA has done now? They've asked Sepp Blatter and Michel Platini to step down for 90 days. Now that, I think, is a great confidence boosting measure that FIFA has done to show that they are willing to accept and acknowledge that something has gone wrong, and they're willing to take a step in that direction for redressal. I think this is perhaps the Pepsi's way of pushing the BCCI into a situation where they show similar intent. That's my reading of the situation.
Right. Shailendra, let me bring it to you then. And somewhere a lot of people believe that the change of guard and helm at the BCCI could perhaps do wonders. What do you make of Shashank Banohar? Do you think he has the cred to perhaps clean up BCCI and bring back some amount of that lost credibility to the organization and the game?
Well, limited knowledge and experience, I personally believe that he's got an impeccable record. He's a thorough professional, and he's out there to actually do a good job for the sport. Having said that, you're known by the army, so if he's able to really create an army of professionals around himself who actually believe in the sport and the format, I think that's going to be really critical. So that we'll have to watch now whether he's able to actually clean up the team that he's got under him. Because, as I said previously, the DNA of BCCI, the constitution is compromised. It is driven for the wrong reason. It's not driven by sport and cricket. It's driven by the Pesa power and politics. So I think that is going to be seen. But I think we've got a brand new leader. I think he's strong, but I think actions speak louder than words. So we'll have to watch what happens now.
Actions speak louder than words. Mr. Mehman, in fact, let me ask you that question. Shailendra believes that the DNA somewhere has been compromised. Do you believe the new man in charge could perhaps, rewrite things a little bit for both cricket and IPL specifically?
Well, look, he's playing his second innings as the BCCI president, and a lot of the problems actually started in his first innings. So he's obviously had a lot to learn in hindsight. What may have gone wrong. So in that sense, yes, he may be better prepared. Some measures which he has spouted as yet, we don't know what will happen, are interesting, and I think they are constructive, like having an ombudsman for the BCCI to look into areas of conflict of interest. I would say, in fact, the IPL's governing council needs to be restructured. It's been a cozy club. It's been BCCI members who otherwise are part of the the major board. They also become part of the IPL governing council, and there's a mutual kind of cohabitation. It doesn't bother too much about what's happening. But now this is going to hurt them. If a major sponsor like Pepsi moves out with taking away an outlay of 396 crore and sending out signals, as your reporter mentioned, for the next sponsor to not pay that kind of money, it's going to hurt them hard. So I think this is where Shashank Manohar needs to step in, lay out a game plan which is looking at the sponsors, looking at the players, looking at his own administration and saying, how do I take Indian cricket forward? The mantra he came on was credibility and stability. This is his real test.
Fair point, indeed. That is really his real test. Sharina, comment on that. The fact that, the sponsorship is under the scanner, do you expect the next deal to be at significantly lower valuation, something that IR seems to be alluding to here? The stage has been set for far more bargaining room than perhaps a sponsor has had with the BCCI all this while.
I would say 50% is the minimum I would negotiate for, because I think the erosion of the brand equity of IPL as well as the format has been compromised. You don't know how many teams are going to play. You don't know what they've done when it comes to match fixing. What are the new laws? I mean, is it further going to get dented? There are many, many unanswered questions. So I would negotiate for 50% because the erosion of the brand equity hasn't happened today. It's happened over 3 years. There's a very, very valid reason that big brands are now staying away, because they don't really, it's not the issue of getting your ROI. The issue is also whether they will land up being associated with a brand that is full of controversy. So IPL will still give you return on your investment because, beggars can't be chosen. 1.3 billion people, cricket is a religion. Where is it going to go? It's an entertaining sport, entertaining format. It's going to work. But 50% is what I would bargain for. And that happened with broadcasting deal, if you recall, 2 years ago. So there is in every crisis, there's an opportunity. So there is an opportunity here. But you know what? As an Indian, as a true fan of cricket, I am deeply, deeply disturbed that nobody is fixing this problem. I mean, somebody's got to get there and get an expert. And actually, I spoke about this. Why don't we privatize IPL, for God's sake? I mean, ISL is privatized, Kabaddi is privatized. Privatize it, and hold the persons who are running it accountable. We've done that as the Indian government has done with the airports. Airports are looking pretty cool. Why don't you privatize IPL?
All right, privatize IPL. You've done that with the airports too, for cricket as well. I want to get you in on the credibility of the game. The fact that we'd all leave everything besides and just sit there and watch that cliffhanger in the making. How many people are really going to tune into IPL given all the controversies that's surrounding it? Do you think the game itself has taken a beating?
I mean, no, it's a strange kind of it's a conundrum actually, because ever since IPL started from season 1, there's been some controversy or the other dogging it, and yet in the first 3 years the crowds grew, the viewership grew, the spectatorship grew, and even in this season you found some massive crowds everywhere. I don't think the popularity of the format or of Indian cricket has been vastly affected, but yes, at the end of the day, people want to watch clean entertainment. Look, right now, simultaneously, as we talk now, there's a case of perjury against Chris Cairns going on in England. Now, that's something which has hurt New Zealand cricket. They've come out with an anti-corruption law where the country is concerned. It's a national law. This is something that the Indian Cricket Administration needs to kind of look at very seriously and collaborate with the Government of India. Shashank Manohar has hinted that he's willing to, he's put his hands up and he says the BCCI cannot curb corruption because they're not an investigating agency. But something needs to be done to bring it back, bring back the prestige and the credibility of Indian cricket where it was 7-8 years ago.
Right. Shalinder, what about IPL CEO Sundar Raman? He's been so tight-lipped despite all that we've, been seeing in terms of a laundry list of scandals surrounding the IPL. He's supposed to be the captain of the ship. He hasn't said a word. Isn't the onus with him as well?
I think the fact of the matter is that I think the DNA of IPL was from day one, it was a commercial entity, a commercial property. So consistently, everybody looked to exploit IPL. IPL actually is a sport which has been repackaged for a brand new young India. We have the youngest population on the planet. I think everybody took away from the sport. So even the administrators and everybody, I think the 3 Ps, the paisa, power and politics, that's where the focus has become of IPL and BCCI. To be honest, this is a sport. It needs to be run professionally. And I think that's why Sundar Raman or whoever is the person responsible or the CEO of IPL has to be accountable, has to be out there actually giving the plan. Things can go wrong, no issues at all. But somebody has to communicate and connect with its audience, sponsors, broadcasters, and fans. If you don't do that, you're going to lose this massive intellectual property that India created.
Fair point indeed. Shailendra Singh and Ayaz Memon, we really appreciate you taking time out this evening and talking to us on an issue that actually pertains to each one of us. We've loved the sport, we've loved watching it, and look at the controversies that surround it, with the title sponsor now willing to pull out. Thanks very much indeed this evening for being with us on Business Tonight with ET Now on India's #1 business channel.
Find us on Facebook at facebook.com/ETNow, and don't forget to click the like button. You can also follow us on Twitter at ETNow Live. To stay updated with all our programming, hit the subscribe button on our YouTube channel by logging on to youtube.com/user/ETNow.